Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, WTF, what just happened to Bitcoin? Bitcoin fell down 1,000 points out of nowhere right before this stream. So, in this stream, I'm going to try to explain what happened and how should we prepare and should we be worried. So let's answer all of these things and more tonight. Welcome, guys. Hopefully you guys are hanging in there. Hopefully you guys are not too freaked out by what's going on. But take a look. When you're zoomed in on the 5-minute chart, it looks scary. That was a huge sudden drop over 1,000 points, 1,100 points to be exact, out of nowhere. And this is coming off of a pretty flat day. Like, there was not a whole lot of movement. This morning, the stock market started out bad, then it actually ended up in the green. And that's because we actually had one Fed that said, you know what, 25 basis points is the right course of action, and actually brought things up, right? So it's definitely not the U.S. market. And tomorrow, the pre-market isn't dumping. So that has nothing to do with it. But there are several other things that have happened just recently that could definitely be affecting us. Number one, a lot of you guys already know this, Coinbase. Coinbase went down approximately 30 minutes ago. So does this have something to do with it? A lot of you, I see people in the chat saying, why is Coinbase down, right? 27 minutes ago, they said we're experiencing degraded performance for Coinbase.com, Exchange, and Prime. You may see connectivity errors, right? And then now they're attempting to restart and recover, kind of like a reboot, right? The timing of it fits pretty closely. This actually started, the Bitcoin dumping started approximately 30 minutes ago. So was this a cause, or did the dumping cause Coinbase to go down? Don't know quite. I don't know what the correlation is, okay, if there is any, but that's definitely happening. What else happened today, even though the stock market was good? Well, you guys know Silvergate. I did a video this morning about Silvergate. They got absolutely wrecked, down 58% for the day. And that's because they couldn't come out. They said they couldn't come out with their yearly report, and they said they may be investigated by the regulators, and no one wants to hear that. And this morning, Coinbase and several others severed ties with Silvergate. Now, the thing is Silvergate getting desperate? Do they hold Bitcoin? Do they hold Bitcoin? Did they get forced to sell? That is another mystery right now. In fact, MicroStrategy had to kind of like alleviate some concerns because MicroStrategy did take out a huge $200 million loan from Silvergate. This was last year, but they clarified that, hey, we do have a loan, but it's not due until Q1 of 25, right? So we're not obligated to pay back earlier. Plus, the collateral we put down, right, is not held by Silvergate. And we have no other financial relationship with Silvergate. So at least MicroStrategy is confirming that the collateral they put down, if they took a $200 million loan, they probably put down $400 million. So it wasn't because MicroStrategy got liquidated. Hopefully not. But also it's not Silvergate selling their Bitcoin. But who knows? Silvergate is very involved with a lot of other crypto companies. So does that have something to do with that? Maybe. There's others. That's not all. This came out. This is not good. Gary Gensler, of course, on the attack again, now saying that crypto exchanges may not be qualified custodians. Just because they are a major crypto exchange does not mean that they should be holding your crypto, right? Which a lot of people do agree you should self-custody your crypto. But I think this also added to the FUD. I don't know if this has something to do with it within the last 30 minutes or last hour, but this also causes some more fear about exchanges or just crypto in general in the US because Gary seems to be attacking everyone, right? Attacking everyone. And even the bankruptcy judge that's overseeing the Voyager case, the Voyager bankruptcy, is saying he's absolutely shocked that the SEC would even object to Binance.US buying Voyager because it makes no sense. Judge Michael Wills says, SEC has really not presented any case, but is trying to block it for basically no good reason. So there's that. That also came out today, right? And there's one other thing that I found that I think could be the cause. Maybe it's not Coinbase, maybe it's not Silvergate, maybe it's not Gary Gensler. The one other thing that I found that could have caused this is this. Unfortunately, Mt. Gox is coming. Mt. Gox is set to distribute and repay some of the creditors starting March 10th, which is not today, March 10th. That's in 8 days. But who knows? Mt. Gox and it's what is it? The person that's overseeing this, I forgot the official name. But that person, here we go. I can't pronounce it. I can't pronounce this guy's name. But he has been known to sell off a lot of Bitcoins, okay, in the past. And back in 2018, 2019, when Bitcoin fell down, right, many speculated it went down from 6,000 down to 3,000. There was a sudden drop because Mt. Gox had to sell. At that point, they sold off a tremendous amount of Bitcoin during weak time. Now, with this distribution back to the creditor, back to the people that are owed Bitcoin, they get to choose Bitcoin or they get to choose cash, right? And many people, of course, are selecting Bitcoin. So even though there's a lot of fear, there's 150,000 Bitcoins waiting to be given back, a lot of it are going to be given back to the people and creditors in Bitcoin, not in cash. So the cash settlement is coming later, right? And two of the biggest creditors that will receive their payout, okay, have opted to take in Bitcoin. So, and that's 20% of all claims. Just these two is taking up 20% of all the Bitcoins meant to hand out, and they're paying, they're taking it 90% in Bitcoin. So they're taking 10% in cash, right? So my other theory is this. Mt. Gox, this is about a week before, 1 week exactly, because Japan is already the 3rd, right? So it's basically 1 week exactly before, maybe they decided to sell some off. Maybe they did, they're trying to get ready for some cash to pay off the people that are looking to get cash back rather than Bitcoin. That makes a whole lot of sense as we're approaching this date, right? So whoever did it, someone did it, right? And it may have not been so bad, except there has been too many greedy people that have leveraged way too much. So part of this is, of course, due to liquidations. We just had a long squeeze. Look at this, okay? Basically, no liquidations at all until this happened right here within the last hour. We had $200 million worth of longs liquidated. So we just had a long squeeze. Unfortunately, we're looking for short squeezes, not long squeezes. So whoever that just sold due to fear, uncertainty, doubt, or purposely, whoever did this, right, definitely caused a lot of people, a lot of long leverage traders, caused them to become wrecked and caused the long squeeze, and definitely contributed to what we just saw, right? Unfortunately, that just happened. So that's when I try, I'm speculating here. This came right before my stream, so I'm trying to figure out what exactly happened. But there's a lot of bad things that happen and could have caused this. Coinbase, for one, why they mysteriously went down, right? Don't know. Hopefully they didn't get hacked or something like that. Silvergate had an absolutely horrible day. Did they get forced to sell off some Bitcoin or assets or something? I don't know. Hopefully has nothing to do with MicroStrategy, right? Did people sell off? Did Asia sell off because they're not liking what Gary Gensler is saying? Or did the trustee of Mt. Gox, I can't pronounce his name, decide to sell some off a week earlier just to make some, to get some cash in order to pay out? I think it's this one. I actually think it is this one. But with that said, does that mean that more is coming? Well, I can't tell for certain, but hopefully the longs are all gone, right? There are just too many people that love to play leverage, and there's just way too much leverage all over the place, right? We want to see short squeeze, not long squeeze. But anyways, but moving forward, of course, we'll have to pay attention to this. But does this mean that the bull cycle that's about to come is over? Does that mean we have invalidated this upcoming halving a cycle and everything is now going down the No. Because, yes, this is a blip. You guys know. This is a blip. Great DCA opportunity. But the number of holders and accumulators, sky high. The retail investors definitely didn't cause this. This was definitely not due to retail investors dumping. This was something unnatural behind the scenes, okay? And we're going to get past this. But you look at the adoption rate right now, sky high for Bitcoin. Sky high. Way higher than all previous cycles, you could argue, combined. That's how strong people are right now, right? So you could look at it. Number of addresses holding 0.1 Bitcoin, all-time high, over 4.2 million. What about the number of Bitcoin being held for at least 1 year? All-time high, around 68%. 68% of Bitcoin being held for over 1 year. What about 2 years? All-time high, as you may have guessed. Over 51% have been held for over 2 years. What about just the number of hodl coins in general, right? Basically all-time high, 7.6 million, okay? And what about supply that haven't been touched in over 10 years? Sky high, formed a new high, 2.6 million Bitcoin, right? So as for accumulation, as for holders, as for addresses, all sky high, and forms and all these things form a new high seemingly almost every single week. So whatever's happening right now, definitely unnatural. Maybe some whale games, maybe forced liquidations, maybe forced selling. Something happened, but it does not derail Bitcoin or crypto going forward. This is just a slight hiccup, in my opinion. All right. So that's what I want to say. And then one other, I guess, sour note for today. Not that it caused Bitcoin's downfall, but Ethereum's Shanghai upgrade is being pushed back from March to April. So 1 month, because we're already in March. So they feel like they don't have enough time, right? So I know a lot of people are looking forward to this. You have to wait 1 more month before unstaking can occur. That's pretty much it. All right, guys. Let's do some Q&A. on here? Trying to catch up. Let's see. Market manipulation. Someone said. Let's see. It wasn't Coinbase. Okay. Let's see here. Buy the dip. Some dude just wanted to hire some hookers. Sold some Bitcoin. What's the big deal? I don't know why I just read. Out of all the comments that I read that one. Not sure why. Let's see. If everyone's holding, why is it dumping? Well, obviously, the institutions and the whales do have a lot. But it's okay. The more they dump, the more retail holds. That's why all the addresses and the number of Bitcoins being held and hodled for 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 years continue to go up. You may not believe that. It's okay. In the future, you'll regret it, and it'll be on you. David said it was Silvergate. I don't know what kind of exposure. Silvergate really, yeah, I don't know what kind of exposure we can expect if Silvergate goes under. Like the connections with all the companies they have invested in. Are they going to be forced to liquidate? Do they hold crypto themselves? We don't know. But this whole Silvergate situation, not good. And of course, started with FTX. FTX, I think this may be the last contagion spreading to Silvergate, and hopefully it's done. Got 5.2K people tuned in right now, wondering what's going on, right? So a lot of bad things happened today. Silvergate, one theory, maybe they're forced to liquidate, forced to sell right now, right? That could have something to do with it. Coinbase was down. People are saying it's back up. Why did they go down? For degraded performance, right? Don't know what happened there. SEC and Gary's on attack again, but I do think it's due to this. I think Mt. Gox, they could be preparing for payouts, so they're selling a little bit, and that little bit triggered a very long squeeze, $200 million worth of longs wrecked, and that probably had a lot to do with what we just saw. Alts got hammered. Last hour, they're all coming up, but you can see 24-hour, a lot got hammered. Yeah, ouch. But BTC's dominance is still holding around the same, 42.2%, so it hasn't really deviated. Let's see here. I panicked, sold everything, went to buy again, held Well, unfortunately, if that's true, and you're not trolling, unfortunately, that probably wasn't the greatest idea to panic sell while things are dumping. It's usually the opposite. You want to panic buy when things are dumping. But that is what you decided. If you had to choose one, Fetch or Singularity, I would go with Fetch because they are layer 1. Let's see. How are you enjoying cheap lumber? You know, lumber came down since I originally got the quote for the house. But I'll tell you this, building a house, whatever quote that you get from a builder, expect to pay 20% more, which you would think, okay, that's not so bad. But the 20% is coming out of your pocket in cash, right? So that's the thing. Even though I'm saving a lot on lumber, everything else is way, way, way above the estimate and allowance given by the builder. Is so under is laughable. So that's the bad thing if any of you guys are building a house or thinking about building a house. Coinbase had notified yesterday about maintenance, so it's because of Coinbase. I'm not so sure. Maybe. I mean, maybe. The timing of it is very, very close. I think Alex says, I think people who are worried about this dump weren't buying when Bitcoin was at 16K. We are still well above that. I mean, that's always the thing. There are a lot of people that will say, well, you know, if it hits here, I'm going to buy. But if it really hits there, they don't buy, right? That's just how it is. And a lot of people keep claiming, oh, yeah, it's going to go down, down, down. If it really happens, they still don't take opportunity. There's a lot of people that are just going to sit on the sidelines forever, quite honestly. Amount of dumping of 2022 has numbed my feelings. Well, because that's what happens during if you've lived through a down cycle, and the one that we had in 2022 was the longest ever for Bitcoin. The percentage was not the biggest drop, but the prolongedness in terms of days was the longest ever. So if you've lived through that, you harden yourself in a good way. I panic bought and then panic sold. Not sure why you would do that. Free speech. Thank you. Zoom out for reality check. Well, I have it zoomed in just to cause more fear. No, but when you zoom out, you could see it. But obviously, we have been here before. We have seen Bitcoin fall to 21.5 before pumping right above to 25,000, right? Can this be a giant fake out for the bears? Thinking that, hey, getting people to think, hey, we're going to go under, and then we flip above just like before. And that happened just a few weeks ago. Bitcoin was down here, on a 13, 14. That was only 2 weeks ago that Bitcoin fell to 21.2 and then flipped right above. Can that happen again? Yes. Yes, it can. I was checking, the funny thing is usually when you see a big movement like this, usually it's correlated, well, at least it's been for a long time, correlated to the U.S. market or the DXY. DXY actually started coming down since this morning. The U.S. market was actually in the green today, right? So it has nothing to do with those, but could very well have something to do with Silvergate or Mt. Gox or Coinbase, one of these, or maybe even a little bit of Gary Gensler, but, we won't know for sure. We won't know for sure. But it just happened, so one of these for sure. And then, or maybe a combination, and then cause a long squeeze. Mike says this last crypto winter definitely helped me be more diligent when buying, and yes, hardened me for sure. I've learned from my mistakes. I'm glad to hear that. Every single cycle, even though you have a lot of retail investors coming in, they get burned. A lot of people leave, right? But a lot also stay, and then they get hardened, and then it makes them stronger, which is why accumulation is at an all-time high right now, right? The number of holders, number of addresses, number of just people in general that refuse to let go and continue to pile on, there's more and more of it. More and more of them, right? So keep that in mind. Tomorrow will be interesting. I'm sure there will be a lot more investigations. You know, I saw another chart that was handed to me that was suggesting maybe the miners dumped, right? Maybe that had something to do with it. I was looking at some other facts, other charts. I couldn't verify, but I'm sure tomorrow we'll see more investigations about what happened tonight, and maybe we'll get a clearer story. But if I had to choose, I think it's probably due to this. Mt. Gox pre-selling to make funds available for when they actually do distribute, and that's approximately 1 week away, right? Now, the good thing is not everyone is opting in cash. A lot are opting in Bitcoin, because why would you want to sell Bitcoin right now as we're getting closer to the next halving event and getting closer to the parabolic run afterwards, right? And that is why a lot of creditors are opting to receive Bitcoin rather than cash, right? So Feezy says it's a bear trap. It could be. It certainly could be. I mean, this was technically a bear trap, right? That was a nasty fall right there. Nasty fall, and then boom, we made a new local high, right? Maybe this is a nasty fall, and then boom, we make a new high. Finally, we break through 25 and head to 28, 29, right? If you look at a daily chart, stochastic RSI is trying to bottom out and cross to the top, right? RSI has come down from quite a high level at like 90s, and now down as a reasonable 40s, right? So from a daily perspective, the charts are looking much better now than, say, a few weeks ago, right? And then if you're looking at even shorter time frame, like, you know, let's say the 4 hour or the hour, now starting to look very oversold, right? So could this be a bear trap? Getting people fearful once again before the next leg up? Could happen. Could happen. It happened just a few weeks ago. Do you like Anchor for big gains the next bull run? Are there faster horses? There's a lot more faster horses. Anchor is not one of my picks, I would say. I'm sure they will go up with the bull run, but L1s, L2s, definitely, I like them better. Thanks to your help, I should have some life-changing wealth happening very soon. Congrats. Love hearing that. Maybe Jim Cramer tweeted buy BTC. That would be funny. That would be funny if that was true. But I don't think that's it. Is Ledger fire and waterproof? No, it's not. But the Ledger is irrelevant. It's the recovery phrase that's important. If you get a Ledger, right, of course, you don't want to just throw it in a bathtub or something. But even if it breaks, it gets lost, it gets stolen, the most important thing about Ledger is the recovery phrase. That's how you can recover your crypto. Yeah, T-Lock, you really need to be in crypto for 6 years to truly understand the behavior of crypto market cycles. So easy. It's easy to say if you've been in the game for a while, you lived through a few up and downs. But for new people, you know, this is the first time experience. And it's not an easy one. Stocks, you know, generally speaking, outside of like Silvergate, you never ever see like a 90%, 95% drop from top, right? Usually if it happens, that means it's dead. But for crypto, it happens very often. Very often. More often than it should, but it does. Test G, George, any idea how exchanges synchronize the price of Bitcoin? I'm sure there's some order book price, some index price that they all go by. But when they run out of liquidity, then they start upping the price. We have seen that many times, like the Coinbase premium, right? Coinbase have ran out of liquidity before, and then the price skyrockets. And not just with Bitcoin, with a lot of other coins. It has happened before. I remember my 24-word seed phrase. Good, good. That's pretty hard. 12 words, you know, 12 words, okay. 24, a little difficult. You better make sure you practice it often. How is BTC XRP looking to you? Are you talking specifically about both or just the ratio or the trading pair? I don't know, but XRP is not going to go anywhere until they settle that lawsuit. But I'm rooting for them. I want them to push back on Gary. I don't want SEC to just run over all crypto projects and everyone in this space. So I'm rooting for Ripple to win. And if they do win, then it'll be absolutely huge for XRP. Am I buying some small caps? I have a few from years ago. I am not picking up that much small caps right now. Mostly Bitcoin and big caps. But recently a few little small caps, right? Some projects that I find interesting, which I will talk about later, but right now I think it's too early to be talking about small caps or micro caps right now. But mostly the reason why big caps are the way to go, because obviously they have more strength. People trust them more and they do recover up faster, right? And then when the bull run really hits, that's when everyone's speculating, the money's going everywhere, and that's where the micro caps and small caps really start exploding. How is XRP paying for legal team this long? I mean, they said they're going to pay $100 million, at least. But they're not phased. They haven't laid off anyone this crypto winter. In fact, they're still hiring. So they got plenty of resources Okay, so that's why they do have a good chance to win against SEC. Everyone else would have folded, and I think Gary thought Ripple would have folded years ago. That's why recently they started attacking smaller companies that don't have deep pockets because they know that they will fold. They won't go into a multi-year lawsuit with SEC. I loaded a boat on Phantom. Not a bad play. Phantom has been kind of stagnant recently, but I do believe they are promising L1, L2, L1/L2. One of the ones I've been following for a while, and I do think they have a lot of promise. Simon says, I just got liquidated. I didn't even know about it. It happened so fast. That's what happens when a long squeeze happens. And then your leverage just goes poof and it goes away, right? So if you look at the last hour, I mean, that's kind of crazy. 200 million liquidated within a single hour. All the longs gone. I know for Silvergate, those of you guys that are wondering about MicroStrategy, I covered this already, but they say they have no exposure to Silvergate. Their loan does not need to be repaid until 25, and they don't have their BTC custody with them. So I wonder who's actually holding that crypto, right? And they have no other financial relationship with Silvergate. So that's interesting. They took out a loan. They put down collateral, right? BTC. But who's holding the collateral for Silvergate, right? Don't know. We're seeing a little recovery, slight recovery. And I know zoomed in is very scary, right? Zoom out, it looks less scary. And then you realize, okay, you know, we have just come up from 16,000, and that was just a few months ago, right? So we have not lost all of our gains. And if you look at this, you realize it just happened even 2 weeks ago. It happens, you know? Manipulation, fear, FUD, panic selling, forced liquidations. It happens all the time. Do you think SHIB will go to 1 penny someday? No, I don't. It's virtually impossible for that to happen. It would need to have like a 60 trillion market cap or beyond for that to happen. So no, it's not going to happen. My portfolio is currently around 25 to 27K in USD. You think is enough to be a million next bull run? Unfortunately, I don't think so. If you're holding on all the hot crypto that goes up 20 or 50x, then maybe. But I would say, you know, a 10x, a cool 10x is definitely very possible. Maybe a cool 15x, 20x within the possibility. Do you like GRT for big gains next? HG, do you just keep asking the same questions, but just put in new crypto? The answer is no. Are you bullish on Cadena? Yes. Flare, I think Flare has promise. You know, finally they released and airdropped their L1 based on XRP Ledger, but now they just want to go EVM and really have interoperability with all chains, right? Too early to make a call on whether or not they will be successful. Let's just say they have promise. Are you going to watch Creed 3? Yes. Looks pretty good to me. All right, guys. I'll let you guys go. Go enjoy your night. Go have a drink on me. But I'm not paying for it. You know, I gave all the reasons why I think Bitcoin dropped down 1,000 points today. So if you missed it, rewind. But to keep things in perspective, not all is lost. This next cycle is not over. The fundamentals have not changed. Okay? So keep those things in mind and stay strong, my friends. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right? Hopefully it'll be a happy Friday at 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good night, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.